Hey family, do you realize how important Genesis 1:1 is to your life and the way that you live it? Hi, my name is Sonia Rice, and I am married to an excellent Bible teacher, Pastor Bob Rice, and we have decided to share our personal Bible studies with you. Now, I read Genesis 1:1, and Pastor Rice went off. I mean, OFF. He went off. Please stay tuned and enjoy all the lessons, all the nuggets that you can learn from Genesis 1:1.
Now, back a little bit, backing it up, we said that there were two aspects that this clause covers. Okay, the legal. God has the legal right to His creation. Okay, and He has there is a historical aspect to this as well. Okay, and we mentioned the creation. Okay, we mentioned evolution. Okay. Now, this is what has to happen. This is what the Big Bang Theory states. It states that at one time in the past, somewhere around 6 to 7 billion years ago, okay, that there was nothing. Okay, and that's very hard to conceive of. Because even if you come to an empty room, you have the walls in the room. Even when you get into outer space, okay, there is still just a host of things that is traveling through space. Although you're close to absolute zero, 3 degrees above absolute zero in outer space, the fact that you have any temperature is something. Okay, there are rays and particles that are moving through what we call empty space, and is filled with gamma rays and all types of things, all various types of light, even though it's not visible light. All these things are happening. Gravity is occurring all around outer space. Nothing means that there are no forces, there are no particles, there is no matter, there is nothing, no time, no space. Nothing.
Why did you say it twice?
Okay, that means nothing. Okay, I could say it. There is nothing to infinity. There was nothing. Then, all of a sudden, for reasons that we've yet to understand, and probably and may never will, they're searching for God particles, and they're trying to do in CERN all types of experiments to understand the origins of things. Okay, but all of a sudden, in a nanosecond or less, in the most infinitesimal amount of time that you can possibly imagine, the universe, or the lack thereof, okay, went from nothing, okay, and to say in a second, I mean, a second is way too long, okay. I'm talking about the most micro amount of time. It went from nothing to everything in an instant. Everything. From nothing. Not from nothing to something. Okay? Please, that's an understatement. Nothing to something is not what the Big Bang purports. Okay? It went from nothing to everything instantly. Okay? Every force, every drop of matter, time itself came into existence instantly And they can only imagine the instantaneous contrast from nothingness to everythingness, okay, as a big bang, okay, a huge sound, okay, and then so now over the past 6, 7, 8 billion years, this world has expanded. The universe has expanded to what we're currently enjoying. Okay, and it came from the fact that, hey, we know that the universe is expanding. So if we just go back in time, we know that it was smaller than it was. And if we go back far enough, the whole universe was the size of one planet. And if you go back further, it was the size of a basketball. And if you go back further, a size of a pea and a pinhead and a molecule and an atom and a quark and a string, then nothing. Okay? So it's logical, okay, to think that, hey, if the universe is currently expanding, then it must have been a point in which it was no longer expanding or it was nothing. Okay, that makes logical sense. Okay, but in order for that to be true, you have to have miracle number one. How do you go from nothing to everything? Okay, that's a miracle. Okay, now galaxies formed eventually, solar systems formed eventually. Okay, and now you get this planet in the solar system that we currently experience. Okay, and then you have this third rock from the sun. Okay, Earth, this blue planet, and eventually life begins to form. Okay, on this Earth from proteins, from nucleic acids. Okay, and from nucleic acids and protein parts or whatever, okay? And eventually they form the first cell, okay?
This is the Big Bang thing.
Now we're into evolution, okay? But Darwin didn't deal with the origin of the first cell. He took it assuming life had already started, okay? And he saw these variations, which were microevolutionary in origin, and he just figured that, hey, if this happens on the micro level, then it probably happened on the macro level. And so he stated, he wrote his Origin of Species outlining that particular theory, okay? But in order to get there, first of all, you have to have life, okay? So this is kind of pre-Darwinian. After the Big Bang, there is this gap between Darwin, okay, and the first living cell that was capable of multiplying itself, okay? Now, in this universe, and this is where we get to the second miracle. In the universe, you have matter, various forms. You have energy, you have time, okay? And energy in its various forms: strong force, weak force, all these different gravity, all these different forces, okay? The one thing that does not exist in nature that you have to have in order to get that first cell is you've got to have information. And you got to have a lot of it, okay? Information does not occur naturally. Information only occurs through an intelligent source, okay? So if I see a book with writing in it that's coherent, I knew that somebody wrote it, okay? DNA and RNA And the ribosomal complex that a protein is built on, based on specific information, okay, that's contained in the DNA, had to come from somewhere. And information is not a naturally occurring phenomenon, okay? And in the midst of the double helix of DNA is a basically a computer system, okay, that is more complex, okay, than any computer system that man has ever made. Okay, we deal with binary computer systems. This is a computer system based on off. Okay, and so that's how our computers work. DNA is a quadrary, okay, computer system. It is. There are 4 chemicals, okay, that make up the DNA molecule, okay. And these things are arranged in such a perfect pattern that they are able to instruct the RNA how to place amino acids. That's what I was trying to say when I think of nucleic acids and amino acids in the right sequence to make proteins in such a way so that they can sustain this living universe called a cell, okay, which is basically a universe in and of itself. And when you look at the complexity of a cell, okay, there are factory floors, there are trucks, that carry small microscopic particles, and they are organized in just a perfect way in order to do that, and they do it through information, okay. But information does not occur. So you have to have miracle number 2. Where did the information come from to produce the first cell? Okay? Information does not occur naturally. And if you ever see information happen, see, in other words, if I'm an archaeologist and I go on a dig and I'm brushing through some rock and dirt and I find and unearth a vase, okay, I can say that this vase is different from the rock surrounding it, inasmuch as the rock surrounding it is natural, okay? It was here as part of the earth. The vase within this earth, somebody made it. Mm-hmm. Okay, or if we find a arrowhead, we know that somebody made that arrowhead, okay, that it was an intelligence behind it. But the science community has agreed on the fact that you can have something way more complicated than an arrowhead or a vase. And you can say that somebody made the vase, but DNA just happened. I'm talking about DNA is something that there is no science or no scientist that can produce and store information, okay, at that scale, okay, that complex amount of information, okay, the amount of information that's held in one strand of DNA can fill a library. Okay, in other words, what I'm saying to you, any strand of DNA in your body has enough information in it to make every cell in your body. Okay, so in your skin DNA, in a cell of DNA, there is the instructions to make your bones, your heart, your brain. All of the instruction is in every strand of DNA. Okay, and there's enough information in that molecule. Okay, this is nanotechnology. Okay, on a vast scale to create. Where does that come from? Okay, I don't care how many lightning storms and how much primordial soup that you have in this universe. Information is not going to come from that. Okay, so you need, in order for there to be, for evolution to be true, you need the miracle of information to take place. The next reason why I don't believe in evolution, there's a law of thermodynamics called entropy that says that in this universe, things go from complex, okay, to disorientation, because they don't go from disorder to order, okay, because the universe is expanding, okay. Things are moving to a state of disorder. You are alive, then you die, then you decay, okay, in your body, okay, you decay, okay. If I take a shoe, and by the way, there's a lot of DNA in that shoe, a leather shoe, okay, if it's real leather, I can throw that out in the yard. It's never going to evolve. It's going to disintegrate and decay. Okay, so you have to overcome the second law of thermodynamics in order for evolution to be controlled. It's against a law. You have a theory that's in rebellion to a law. Okay. So that's another thing. Okay. Another thing is that, say for instance, within as things were, say we give them, okay, that things evolve. Okay. Everything in, like, say for instance, your eye is complex. So say when the first eye evolved, the evolution of the first eye, we don't know what creature it evolved in. And it's funny that most creatures that have eyes have at least two. Okay. So very few one-eyed creatures in the world, cyclopic creatures in the world. Okay. So you have an animal. Okay. And what they say in evolution is that natural selection begins to understand that if you can orient yourself toward light, it can help your species adapt, and therefore, the eye evolved to help them adapt better, because a seeing creature can adapt to its environment better than a blind creature. Okay. The problem is that all the parts of the eye have to be there. They have to be fully assembled and designed. They have to be there, present at the same time. Okay. If the retina is not present, the eye doesn't work. If the lens isn't present, if they are not all present at the same time, so what manner of genetic mutation, okay, can get all those parts made, okay, assembled into the same place, into a package that can form an eye? And you can say that for every functional part of every creature that's ever lived. Okay? It has to all be there. Okay? Or it has to, or it won't serve any adaptive purpose. And if that's what's driving selection, natural selection, there's no reason why a retina should exist if it serves no function. There are not these spare parts just floating all over the universe waiting to come together. Okay, so you need a miracle there. Okay, and it goes on. The fourth thing is that nobody's ever seen any of these things. What has stuff stopped evolving? What is evolving now into something else? How come there's no creature? You see, you would think we call like the link, like this link between humans and apes. we call that a missing link. Okay, the missing link. Like it's one thing. All we're missing is this one creature that comes between us and the monkeys. No, there are millions of missing links. And the funny thing about it is, if we evolved, okay, there would logically be alive intermediate species all over the place. There would be more intermediate species than there would be complete species. How come we don't have one intermediate species? We don't have one missing link between any blade of grass, okay, and what comes next. Between any amoeba and what comes next, okay? Any squirrel and what comes next. We don't see any intermediate. So what did 60 million years ago stuff stopped evolving? Because if evolution is true, you would see things being evolved in the process of evolving now. And we do not see those things now in our whole zoological world, okay? Nor do we have one piece of evidence at all in the fossil record. Not one.
That's the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, baby.
That's okay.
I've been doing too much talking.
No problem.
Okay.
So what we just read was Genesis 1:1.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you just did was explain that is in, what's the right word? Contradiction to the Big Bang. And
Yes.
Can't believe both.
Yes. See the difference. And by the way, when you look at the Genesis account, okay, it looks very similar to the origin of species in the order things were created. Okay, so Darwin had a template through the book of Genesis. Okay, see, first you had light. Okay, then things evolved to the highest life form. Okay, that's Darwin just used that, as his template to move, so that there is something. See, the Big Bang and creation were very similar. Okay, with one big difference. Okay, with two big differences. One, it didn't take billions of years. Okay. Number two, whereas with the Big Bang, before the Big Bang, there was nothing. Okay? Before God created anything, there was nothing except God, who existed for eternity past with nothing. Okay? So there was an eternity of time in the past when there was nothing and God. Okay?
That's the difference.
Yeah.
One of the differences.
The difference between the Big Bang and evolution is that according to what we believe, we went from nothing to everything because of something or someone. Okay? And the Big Bang goes from nothing with no cause, because it can't have a cause, because the modern day biologist almost has to be a naturalist. Okay? Naturalism and materialism are two basic tenets of faith within the scientific community. Okay? Faith. Okay? See, this is the problem with evolution. See, you have to have faith to believe evolution. Okay? You have to have faith that nothing else exists except that which is natural. Okay? So they receive no other evidence besides that which is natural and that which is material. That's what materialism. That the only thing that exists and the only explanation for anything that exists is that it is material in its essence. Okay? So there is no spiritual aspect of the universe. Okay, so materialism and naturalism are beliefs. Okay, there's no proof that everything is natural or material. Okay, because you can't really prove a negative. Okay, it's difficult. But on the same order, if you rule it out, it could be in your face, and you could be further down the line because you have not dismissed something. You see, and so what the science has, in essence, become the new religion of the modern world. Okay, you hear it all the time. Do you trust the science? Well, science doesn't demand your trust. Science does not demand my trust. Science is not asking to be trusted. Science, okay, is conceived and it is proved or disproved. Okay, the Bible is to be believed. Okay, you see, there are proofs for it. Okay, there might be disproofs for it. You know, who knows? Okay, I haven't found any, but there could be proofs and disproofs for it. But when it comes down to it, I understand when I approach God and the Bible. Although I have reasons to believe, although I have evidence to believe, okay, it is still belief. Okay, what we've done in our modern era is we have ascribed that which is belongs to the community of faith, the communities of faith. We have now applied that to science. So now we are asked to trust. No, you don't trust science. You prove science. See, science is always begging to be challenged. Okay, you see, and when you're saying trust the science, what you're really saying is trust a group of scientists. You see, so now they have become the new priest of our culture, and instead of wearing clergy robes, okay, they wear lab coats. But it's the new priesthood.
Okay, family, I hope you are enjoying all this good word. I hope you're catching those nuggets. And remember, you can put your questions in the comments below and we'll record Pastor Rice answering your questions. You can also send them to questions@pastorbobrice.com. And go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification button so that you'll be notified whenever we put out another video. God bless you. Live well, live right, and live forever.